Okay, are we streaming? Looks like we're streaming. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our weekly meeting on May 29th. We're going to do a quick check-in on some things people wanted to talk about today. Nate can't be here or any other core developers, so we're going to do our best without them to just go through the issues and see what we can move forward in their absence. Let's go around and have everybody do some quick introductions. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm Jen Lampton. I'm joining from Oakland, California, and I'm going to turn it over to Martin next. And then when everyone's done, randomly call on the next person. We'll keep each other on our toes.
Hi, I'm Martin Price, Yorkshire Pudding around Backdrop, and I'm a Backdrop developer, website developer in Northeast England, United Kingdom.
I'll just jump in. My name is Tim Erickson. I'm St. Paul Tim on the internet. Fresh back from MidCamp was last week. We had a good time there. And yeah, nothing else special to report. Irina, are you available?
Hi, my name is Irina Zaks. I am site builder. I identify as a site builder. I am developer once in a while, and I'm here to learn more about different development tools. And I have another meeting coming soon, so I will, when it's time to exit, I'll exit quietly, not to interrupt. Thanks.
Good. Martin or Eli, I'm sorry.
I think I'm last.
Yeah.
My name is Eli Lissick. I'm a developer with Giant Rabbit. I'm calling from San Diego, California.
It's okay.
Thanks, everyone. We have a couple of community updates. I wanted to announce that Anna Heath put My Shakespeare into the showcase on backdropcms.org. So if you wanted to learn about how Giant Rabbit worked on that site, it's available now, which is great. And then did we get a blog post for Backdrop 131?
So
I
know I didn't work on it.
Okay.
Jen, which blog?
For the May 15th release of Backdrop.
Yeah.
So we usually release it around the 30th. And so I just didn't want to know if anyone's already working on that. I won't work on it, but if no one started, I'll see where we can get with that one. Okay. And then we had one forum post and it was from Martin. So I don't know, Martin, if you want to jump in with your topics first. But
I don't have any topic. I know Irene was just asking, so I just created an empty forum post in case anyone wanted to post.
Okay. There was one comment about preventing use of field machine names. Did you talk about that last week?
That was last week.
Okay. Just making sure that wasn't overlooked. Great. And then Irina, did you want to bring up your topic now or what's?
I would like to ask the question. I'm not sure if there's a quick answer. I think it's kind of more like a general question than practical. Visual testing is very important, and Pantheon recently made Autopilot available to more levels. And Autopilot is a very good tool that allows you to compare two visual site before and after upgrades or whatever. The requirements say
I didn't know Autopilot did visual regression testing. I thought it was something else. Oh, that's cool. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah,
go ahead.
And this is so Pantheon is doing a very good job with features that help developers be more productive. It's like they did GitLab integration recently, and Autopilot is more available to more tiers. I don't know if it's available to everyone, but to more people. But it requires Drush 8. And I don't know if they will be able to test Backdrop because I'm not sure how it is set up. But if it works, that would be really a very helpful tool. So this is why I started to look into that. And since I identify as a site builder, not as a developer, I'm going to try to install Drush 8 myself, but I'm not sure how. Maybe you can look at it and say, oh, no, it's never going to work. Or, yeah, you just need to do a better job installing.
Drush 8 is the version of Drush that works with Backdrop. So anything newer than that for like Drupal, like Drush 8, I think works with Drupal 7, and then Drush 9 was Drupal 8, etc. So anything beyond Drush 8 won't work with Backdrop, but Drush 8 should. That doesn't mean all of the commands that exist in Drush 8 are available and supported on Backdrop, because they're all surrounded by the Backdrop Drush add-on extension. That's what makes them work. So it could be there's new stuff that's in Drush 8 that Pantheon is using in order to do this that isn't supported, but Drush 8 generally is. So I definitely would recommend giving it a try, seeing what works and what doesn't. And if there's something really cool we need to support, you can open issue in the Drush queue for Backdrop and see if it would be supported. I can't find anything about visual regression testing in Autopilot. Do you know if they like wrote a blog post about that or something?
Yeah, I put it in, I think it's in office hours because no, it's in weekly meetings. Okay. The link that I put in there,
Here it is. Autopilot site compatibility.
yeah. And then on the same page, there are
This is great. I'm going to
Autopilot.
drop this into the
So the
agenda.
top, yeah, the top says what Autopilot does. And it does visual regression testing.
Yeah, that's
Why?
neat. I think that's new. It used to just do updates.
No. It always had the reason. So Matt presented it 3 or 4 years ago at WebCamp when they just were launching it. And this is why I was super excited about this feature then. But then something happened and never get to try. Oh, because it was meant to be in a different tier, but recently Pantheon is making things more available, and that's very cool.
It's great.
Just be aware, I think there are some PHP 8 plus problems with the Drush extension for Backdrop. I think it has actually been marked as deprecated, but it might still work for the functions that you need. But I know some functions weren't working for PHP 8.
I have also had a lot of success with bundling B along with my Backdrop projects and putting them on external hosting solutions where it isn't officially supported. So there could be some like hack you can do with Pantheon in order to be able to run your own B commands through Drush, because you can use Drush to run a command. So I don't know. There's like, if you wanted to get super creative, there's probably a way you could do it with B instead of with Drush. Haven't tried it on Pantheon though. This is really cool. I'm going to drop a link to this in the agenda if anyone wants to look at the Pantheon Autopilot stuff. I looked at it a long time ago and there wasn't any visual regression testing there, but this is really neat.
I just dropped it into the weekly channel that it's linked to, so the link.
Great. Yeah, it was in there a while ago on higher up.
Oh, okay.
We had one other, was it Eli? Somebody had a question about core request pattern.
Oh yeah, that was me. I have been mostly working in the contributed space, and I just created an issue with a tentative PR for core, and I was just wondering if I don't have any maintainer permissions or anything like that in GitHub, and so my issue is kind of like sitting here as workflows waiting for approval, and I don't know if I have to do anything or tell anyone that that's like sitting there, or if people will just like see it and something will happen. I just don't know what the process is for that.
So if all of the workflow happens on the core issue and the pull request is like a side thought. So as long as the core issue has the right labels on it, it'll usually get to somebody's eyes. If it doesn't, you can also ping someone in any of the Backdrop Zulip channels in order to get them to look at it. But the general workflow is somebody creates an issue, somebody comes and works on the issue, creates a pull request, and then the issue gets a label that says PR, like has pull request, status has pull request. And then somebody else comes along and reviews the issue. So that's 3 people. And then if they think the issue is good, they'll change the label to either works for me if they just tested it, or ready to be committed if it's tested and has a code review. And as soon as it has the ready to be committed label on it, core committers are pretty quick about picking it up. But it does need to have like 2 people working on it before it gets to that point, and the second person has to be the one to change the status. So it is helpful sometimes to ping people in Zulip and be like, hey, can you look at this issue for me, in order to make sure that it moves forward. Is that helpful?
I think so.
The process with the workflows, by the way, it should just be the first time. And does that happen automatically, Jen, or do we need to add him to a group? That so that if he
The
submits
automated tests?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, any pull request against core will do that. I think if you create a pull request against your fork.
No, the first time somebody submits a PR.
Yeah, I think it's the first time that it's until the first one is merged. Then that every time someone updates that PR, it needs to be approved for the for the tests to happen. And once it's merged, then I think you get approval, and they just run automatically.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I was.
Well, I just approved them this time. Just about anybody can, and Eli, if you continue to work in core, that problem will go away.
Okay, that's great.
Right. We have
I'm
to
in
just
no
check.
rush here.
Yeah, we just have to check to see how that happens. I thought it happened like once automatically, maybe after the first.
I think we used to have a bot that did some of this stuff and like automatically set access on things, but it might not be working anymore.
Sure. Well, we could bring this up again next week because
yeah, let's bring it up.
Nate probably would remember. I'm sure he deals with this more than any of us. But all I had to do is click a button and then the tests run. And usually people will see that and do that for you. Eli, it might take a day or 2, sometimes a few minutes, but you can always ask also in Zulip.
Cool. I was just wondering if there's some process or some specific person I needed to notify. Right. That's awesome. So just so I have clarity about the issue itself, I should just ping somebody and be like, hey, can you look at this, so that they can add a PR tag to it?
You should be able to add the tags to it. If you can't, I think if you add any comment in any core issue, this is again what our bot is supposed to do.
Right.
It's supposed to add you to the group that gives you permission to manage labels. Maybe I should check on our bot. It sounds like.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure again there was an issue that with either the bot or something that you had, so the first time you tried to add tags, it might not work. But
I think I cannot add a label to it, which is fine. But we'll figure it out.
We want you to be able to do that.
Not fine.
Right. We really want you to be able to do that. So.
Yeah.
I would like somebody to do. To talk about automated workflows and stuff in GitHub sometime. Even the ones we use, it's like I don't understand how they work or anything, and I could probably help more with them in core, but also maybe use them on my own. So if anybody wants to do like a user group presentation on how to use workflows or any of the automated tools in GitHub, that would be great.
What would also be really helpful is if we had documentation about the stuff that Backdrop does specifically, whether it's like adding people to groups or running tests or firing up sandbox environments. Like there's a lot of magic automated stuff that would be really useful just to have documented for our own purposes. So that, we do have a problem, anyone can look at it and be like, oh, it's step 6 in the process. It's not working. But yeah, I don't think we have anything like that currently.
I believe a couple of people have set up like automated work tests for contrib projects, but I don't know how to do that.
I could speak to that at some point. I set them up for Commerce, although I never really got around. I think I was having a problem where it was running in some sort of a different way. So I was having it test failures through GitHub Actions that were not failing on my local through either the UI or the CLI, which is very weird.
Okay. Okay, well, we'll try to schedule that for a user group meeting.
Eli, I'm automatically adding you to the team that can manage issues so that you're not automatically, I'm manually adding you for now, but
Okay,
I
cool.
will definitely follow up with it,
Thank you.
what our bot is not doing. Tim, do you remember that we used to have like a server somewhere that wasn't, I don't remember what it's called, but it ran some like node project or something? I thought you might have been involved with that server at some point. No,
No, I
forgot.
don't think so.
Okay, maybe not. Thought you had one of your developers working on it. Could be imagining that.
Well, if you say more, I might remember, but from what you've said so far, it doesn't ring any bells.
Yeah, I can't even remember where I saw it documented that we have that server. It might be in our 1Password account or something. I don't know.
I mean,
There was
the only thing I can think of would have been the bot, the chat bot.
yeah. I was wondering if it might have been more than just the chat bot that was over there. No, okay.
No, and I haven't had anything to do with that for a long time, so I don't know if our chat. I want to check and see if our Zoom chat bot even still works.
Yeah, I don't know about that either.
We used to show up from time to time. I haven't seen it for a while. So, anyways, that's a side topic.
Cool. That worked great. Thank you.
Yay. I don't think
I
we
have-
have anything on the agenda. So yeah, go ahead, Irina, if you have something else.
I do have a question that is related to all the work that Laren is doing with layout paragraphs. There is a pull request against core. And it is my understanding this is a kind of standard template if a particular, for the dev meeting, if a particular PR needs review, this is a correct time to bring it up. So this PR has major impact on layout paragraphs, and layout paragraphs have major impact on editorial workflow, which has major impact on campus, on the project.
Which PR is that? Give us a PR number.
Full 4977, I put it in.
Okay.
It does say it's not worth testing yet. So I would maybe follow up with Laren first to see if he thinks it's worth testing. Because it could be that he wrote that comment when he first created the pull request and has worked on it since then and hasn't added another comment. But there's a chance that it doesn't do what you think it does.
I think it was the first node is on January 3, and he did a lot of work recently. And that work is linked to layout paragraphs. So let me, it's in backdrop paragraphs. No.
This is issue number 6808. And there is, Laren just has an initial issue, and then there's been no discussion, and he hasn't updated it yet. And it still says, it's still labeled as needs work. So usually when he starts to want feedback, he'll add a link, a tag to it.
We were reviewing it with the team yesterday. I'm trying to find, sorry, backdrop and trip paragraphs.
Well, Irene, I think the next step would be just for somebody to update the issue and say, where it's went, and if he needs any feedback or he needs review or he wants other people to test it, then you just need to indicate that in the issue queue.
Okay, I will pass it because that's not something that I can do. I'll reach out to Laren, and I think he.
Right. If I looked at this issue, it looks to me like it's not ready for any input yet, but that could have changed and he just needs to update it.
Yeah. Or he could just designate someone else to update. He's like,
Or
oh,
you,
yeah,
or
it's
yeah,
fine.
you could update
Right,
if you
we
talk to
can
him.
update it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be him. So
Okay, that's good news. I'll double check with him and see, because this is relevant to this.
sure.
So there are some updates from 2 days ago, and I'm trying to I'm just so Larian released recently. This is the this is the most recent link has the information, but yeah, it is definitely work in progress.
Okay. Well, it's fine to bring it up at a meeting like this. It's just usually you should have like a question or, like, how can we move it forward? And
That
I
is
think,
helpful.
yeah, without more information, I don't think there's much to talk about yet.
Okay, yeah, I'll just kind of flagging it. Hopefully
Yeah.
in 2 weeks we will have more information both from Larian and
Yes.
from Denver.
I believe conceptually this idea was talked about at a dev meeting like a month or two ago, but that might be before. That was before this latest round of work. So
Yeah, things are moving quickly, and I kind of like, okay, it's actually happening.
So Olaf joined us. Does anybody? We're just kind of taking questions. Does anybody else have any questions or things they want to bring up? No.
Does anyone know if there is a way when creating a module that defines a new field to set what the default help text, which is the instance description field, will be in a when you create an instance? I have tried a few different ways, but nothing goes in. I'm wondering if anyone has managed to do that.
Sorry.
Can you describe that again? What when you create a new field?
So if you create a module that says this is a new field type, and you think actually it would be useful if every instance of this field started with the help text that I'm going to define in my module. So it can start with that, and then for each instance they can modify if need be, but it starts with the default for the module. But there doesn't. I haven't found anywhere where I can enter that.
Is that the description field?
Yeah, it's a description field
Description
with the
field
label
on it.
help text.
I think
Yeah.
you could, I'm not sure, but I know we had a couple of modules using the hook field instance settings form. Maybe you could like check if it's empty and set a value like that so that when it loads the form, it has a default.
Okay, I'll have a look for that.
You could also be a little sloppy. Eli selection's better, but you could also do a form alter on the field form itself and check for the field type and then provide a default in there. I like this solution better though, because that way you aren't putting it in the field itself, you're putting it in the settings for the field, which is where you really want it.
Yeah, I did
yeah,
try.
don't use
I did try the way that you just suggested, and it didn't populate. So not quite. So I'll try the other way.
Yeah, that sounds good. Does anyone have anything else we want to talk about?
It was. I haven't had time to think about like the next release and issues if there's any features, what's on our radar for 1.32? Does anybody? I just looked at the list, the milestone, and there are several issues there. There's one issue that's already RTPC. But wondering if anybody had ideas of things that we could prioritize. Something I need to think about. Milestone 1 point. The just quickly sharing. So this is what we have on the milestone. Allow entities are RTPC already. So allow this one's was supposed to be close to 1.30. Does anybody know what's holding this one up?
Yeah, so
Oh.
that was only half implemented, and I think the original idea was that we would put it in only half implemented, but it created this problem where you have to describe on the page when it works and when it doesn't work because we didn't implement the other half. And so I thought it would be better if we just implemented the whole thing and then we wouldn't need a UI that explains that it doesn't work. So right now, the pull request only works for override layouts and doesn't work for standalone layouts. And so trying to describe like in the UI when it's allowed and when it's not allowed, or how to build a UI that like detects the type and hides the elements, it became really complicated, where I'm like, if we're going to put this much work into it, maybe we just take that work and put it into making it work for pages too.
Sure.
So I started that, but I didn't get far enough that we were going to get close enough to get it into the next release. So
in some ways it's not as close as we thought it was, but still close.
Yeah, it's really great. We just need to extend what it does to work for pages and not just overrides.
Okay. I'm always interested in the big sort of UX user experience issue that I can get involved in and help with, and I'm not seeing much here, so that's something I'll be on the look for. I know Olaf. I feel like for the last couple releases that you've had a layouts related one that you've been advocating for, and it hasn't gotten anywhere. Do you remember what issue number that is or what it was?
Yes. It's 4052. Flexible layout templates allow custom ID for rows.
And
yeah, so I didn't officially advocate for it.
Oh,
but indeed, I was thinking about doing so for the next release.
What was the number again? 40?
Wait a minute. 4052. Got it?
Yeah. Flexible layouts allow
Good.
custom IDs for rows.
Yeah.
Looks like there was some discussion about whether or not they belong
Yes.
there, and that may have been resolved.
Yeah, there was a discussion, but at the end, I think everyone agreed.
Yeah.
But no one. So Klonos
So this needs a
said
PR.
at that time that he wanted to work on it, but then he didn't. And yeah, so when I advocate for it, I think I have to find someone who can work on it code-wise, because that's above my skills, I guess. Or at least I could need some guidance.
Sure. Well, could be that's kind of issue that interests me. I don't know if I could write the PR either, but maybe if we found something similar, we could figure out how to do this together.
Yeah, I think it should work similar to adding classes to blocks or something.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're interested, so maybe let's connect in Zulip.
Yeah. Maybe my time is pretty limited right now, and my skill in terms of solving this. But if I can help in any way, I will try. I'd
Mhm.
like to have an issue to sort of focus on helping with for the next release. Anybody else? Now is a good time to think about what you'd like to see in the next release, and so that we can get, talking about it and get some momentum. Okay, well, if we got nothing else, we could end early. We do have a documentation meeting coming up after this. We just lost Irina. We could also, we're just thinking, do we have anything big to report from mid-camp? The big news at mid-camp, my gosh, was that there were like 7 backdroppers there, like active backdroppers. That was pretty cool. So that might be the only news I have to report, but we've never had a group photo at a camp that was quite that big, other than Bad Camp. Bad Camp has had some big groups, with the advantage of having like 4 or 5 people that live in the Bay Area, so including Jen and Nate. But at any other camp,
I guess I can.
sure.
Well, go ahead if you're still talking about mid-camp.
Yeah, I don't think there was much else. Justin did a bunch of AI stuff and worked on, so we did have a table at the sprint. It was a bit interesting to be, Dries was there, and it was a bit interesting to be in the room where backdrop was talked about. We did, Justin and I got a photo with Dries in our backdrop garb. But it didn't come up at the time. I think Irene actually brought up, and she left talking to Dries about backdrop. But anyways, none of that's that important. It was just but it was a good camp, and I think we had a good showing there, and that's really all there was to report. So go ahead, Eli. Did you want to maybe mention the thing you were at?
Yeah, I went to CivvyCon last week in Oakland, and that was a pretty good time. A lot of new fun stuff happening in the CiviCRM land. I think I was the only really active backdrop person there, but a lot of people are doing, migrations of sites that were basically like CMS shell sites from Drupal to backdrop if they're just using a couple of features, and people seemed pretty excited about the fact that we were doing work with backdrop. So it was a good vibe, good time.
Nice. Okay. There are other camps coming up. I don't know if Backdrop will have any presence at them. I know, Justin, you're planning to go to Colorado. Did you book that yet, or you were thinking about it? I don't know if Justin's listening.
No,
there he
I
is.
did.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to Drupal Camp Colorado and LaraCon right after it.
Okay, that's the only one you have on your radar that you're
Yep.
going to? Okay. I think Asheville is coming up this summer too, but I don't know if any of us are going. So, okay. I think we should leave it at that. Let's wrap up the meeting. I'm going to end the recording. If I remember how to do it.